And now for my question. It's been a very interesting journey. You guys have spent over £1 billion on player transfers, already overhauled one management team, started the season without a sponsor. Is this was this harder than you anticipated, owning a football club?
So we own probably about a dozen businesses at Clear Lake that are larger, than Clear Lake. Than Chelsea, sorry. And in many of those, we actually are undergoing even more significant transformations, right? Where we have change management teams, et cetera, and they tend to be enterprise software businesses, packaging companies, automotive aftermarket. But you don't ask me about those because you don't care about those.
And your investors care.
And nobody, and they don't get reported by the Telegraph and whatever, the Daily Mail every day. I think it has definitely been, sports obviously occupies a unique position in our society. I think the evolution of the business of sports has been fascinating. Obviously, we have seen, kind of media or sports as media and content, and the buyer for that media and content, evolved dramatically over time. And today, you have basically not only the traditional kind of media players, you have cable, you have now the streamers, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, et cetera. And you see that probably most develop in the NFL, right? In American football, where the monetization of that content is actually nothing but extraordinary, very efficient, and the value of the league, the value of that content, the value of those teams then has skyrocketed. And we're seeing similar trends here in Europe, particularly the Premier League. Let's not forget, right? The Premier League was founded 30 years ago as a function, basically, of precisely what we're talking about. It's a way to pool, basically, kind of the content of the league and eventually sell it, initially to the satellite providers, Mr. Murdoch and others, right? Has been a fascinating investment. Yes, the team had a tough season, our first season. We have a tremendous amount of talent. Some of the numbers that you just mentioned are true, but you're also not mentioning that we also sold $500 million of players, right? So I think what we're trying to do, and we reduce the salary and essentially the OpEx of the business by over, by over $100 million per year. So I think the formula is kind of simple, right? We bought an asset in a very unique situation, given the sanctions with the old owner. We bought an asset that is very coveted by many other types of buyers that were not able to participate in that process. We bought an asset that I think could be better run. But ultimately, we bought an asset that has an incredible fan base, incredible supporter base that we respect. And ultimately, we are extremely aligned with that supporter and fan base, because the best way to make that our club more valuable is to win, and to have a great product on the pitch. And that's what we're doing. So I think we're taking a little bit of pain up front.
Just a little bit.
And we like to win.
Is it more pain than you expected, or is it?
It's more scrutiny than we expected. You can definitely intellectualize that, or rationalize that. Yes, there's a lot more kind of focus on a sports team than there is in a kind of obscure packaging company. But yes, sometimes you have a conversation with somebody and immediately gets leaked in the press, and that's something that was fairly new to us. So I think we were ready for it, but nothing really prepares you for the reality of it. But I think we are putting in place all the elements, to do all the above. Have a sustainable business, on the commercial side, and have a great product and a great team and a great club on the pitch that's going to hopefully win and compete for not only the Premier League but also in Europe. So go Chelsea.
And and you bought Strasbourg, but will you look to buy? Is the plan to buy more clubs in Europe, or is that kind of the two that you need to make it work?
We have talked a little bit about the idea of multi-club models. I think there is some synergies of having multiple clubs under one umbrella. I think it tends to help in terms of everything from creating player pathways to sharing best practices, and there's certainly some benefits to it. But to be to be frank with you, I think we're still in the early innings of those models, right? There's only probably maybe 3 or 4 kind of more well-developed multi-club, kind of entities out there, kind of the city organization, Red Bull, a few others. So still really early days, kind of implementing that. And theoretically, there should be some benefits for every club in that type of system. But I think you also have to be very, very careful, right? To respect the local fan base, to respect each club. These are clubs that have a lot of history, that kind of are integral part of the local communities, and you have to be very careful to just think about that as financial assets.
Isabelle, are you guys going to ever buy a football club at AXA?
No, despite the fact that I've heard about football for 30 years at home, I still don't understand anything about football clubs, so it's probably not for us. I prefer a cinema studio. So that's why we have invested in the also very good fundamentals, but something that is closer to what we can do and where we can deliver value. But so probably not.
I don't know. I see AXA very prominently displayed in some of our competitors' shirts. So she's spending more per year in the Premier League than I am. I think.
That's sure. Right. Fair.
There we go. And I'll make a deal with Jose. When he starts wearing the socks of the packaging company, I will ask only about that. Thank you guys both, Isabelle, Jose, for this, and hope you guys enjoy that session. Take care.